Good morning to you. Welcome to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. How are we doing today? You know what? I got a call from my daughter. She said, Dad, you know what? You need to relax a little bit, Dad. You need to kind of take it easy, relax, settle back. So, I woke up this morning. She's 3 hours different. I'm in California. She's in North Carolina. And number one thing is we always talk in the East Coast time, so I'm up early in the morning. But she said, "Hey, Dad, relax a little bit." So I got up this morning, started a fire, and let's talk about it. I saw something come across the desk. Caitlin Clark's ticket prices are getting extremely high. There is no doubt about it, and I forecasted that for you. I was really looking at that situation a little bit differently. Because the ticket price is now they've made packages in the WNBA, but it doesn't include the Indiana Fever. And folks, it really is one of those things when you got the Michael Jordan of basketball, which Caitlin Clark is, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you're the Michael Jordan, and you have the impact, you have the effect. Everything you do turns to gold. Well, when you go to see the games, you're going to have to pay for that, right? And I saw that last year, and I kind of said, well, I looked at that and I said, Indiana's going to have a little harder time coming around this year because those ticket prices they were getting on the road. And for those of you who don't know, like Kansas basketball, you got Nebraska football, you got a lot of these schools, even Notre Dame football. And congratulations to Marcus Freeman, first African American to make it up to the college football title game. It's a big accomplishment, but Catholic Notre Dame, independent, but they're in the ACC, I think. But he made it. But here's the thing. When you get somebody like Caitlin Clark, right, and Caitlin's no different. When I think of Caitlin, I think of a burning fire, right? You got some of these ladies that are so good that everybody's going to want to see. And what does that do? That takes Game Time, StubHub. All of those have got to get into profit. And here's where it gets a little different. It gets a little tricky for WNBA fans, and you're just going to have to get used to it. One of the things that can happen when you have a megastar, you have an Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, these are mega stars, right? And when you get mega stars into the game, corporate America buys those seats, right? Because we got corporate clients that want to go to the game. And part of the thing I loved about my job as AT&T, as a national business account manager, I took all my clients to the game. I took them to the 49ers game. I'd sit in the suite, King's Court side, wherever they wanted to go. We had the tickets, AT&T, and I just called down and say, hey, what do I need? I need 6 tickets. I got a host. And then my other colleagues would be, hey, Mike, are you going to host this week? Because I'd like to send my clients too, as long as you're there. I said, no problem. I'll be happy to not only host my clients at AT&T, but I'll host yours as well because we're all under one umbrella. And I brought that up to say, the WNBA, if I can get everybody under one umbrella, and that was our motto there at AT&T. If you could be accountable for everybody. Now, don't get it wrong. There's over 500,000 employees when I started. It's kind of hard to do that. But the accountability starts if something happens, you just take accountability for it. Well, Caitlin Clark is the type of player that people are going to want to pay money to see. Okay, now you broadcast it. You've given her Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. Okay, rightfully so. You've given her so many different Athletes of the Year and awards that America wants to see her play. And one thing I love about the business world, and you learn this right away when you get into economics, there's supply and there's demand. Okay, so you got this much supply for Caitlin Clark, but you got this much demand, right? So when you got all this extra demand, somebody's got to pay for that, right? And it doesn't really matter if you book the hotels or whatever. Corporate America, there's no price on tickets. So, I mean, it's going to be good. And I wanted to branch into another area, Satou with the Dallas Wings. And that one concerned me. Good player, right? But here's what I had a big challenge. I need to know what happened, right? Because I looked at the Dallas Wings, and you got the first pick. Why would you want to leave Dallas, right? You got the first pick. I'm looking at your lineup. I'm looking at the players around, everything you got going. Why would you want to leave Dallas? I know the Indiana fans want it really bad. I would caution the Indiana fans on that, right? Because I did take a look at her. I did a scouting report. I mean, that's a great player, right? And are you ready for Caitlin Clark to be the second best on the team or the third best on the team? It's only one basketball. And this is not a player. Okay, Satou's not a player that plays second fiddle. She comes in and she dominates the game. She's active on defense, very active player on defense. Really, her defense dictates her offense. But the only thing, she plays with the ball in her hand. So now you got a different category going. This is not, hey, give the ball back to Caitlin. This player can go score 30. And are you ready for Caitlin to be the second leading scorer on the team? Now, here's where cautions come in, and I really look at Caitlin Clark. And guys, I'll tell you, and when you look at it from a grassroots, look at it from pro scouting perspective, right? You need complementary players for Caitlin Clark. And this is something Amy, okay, is going to have to get in there and go figure out. You need complementary players, not stars. See, that thing going to get a little out of control if you bring in 2-3 more stars, because Satou's a player. She's a star. Right? I don't know why she wants out of Dallas. I don't know if Kurt or somebody's rubbed her wrong, the new coach coming in. But getting that player there, you know what? I throw caution to the wind. Great player if you land her. But you got to be ready for Caitlin to be the second fiddle, because this is a big timer here. And I got this thing, I'll tell you, with lefties, the science of lefties in the WNBA. Folks, I'll let you on a little intangible. The lefties dominate the WNBA. They dominate it. It's not even close. It's not even a comparison of what the lefties can do. I mean, you've got Jackie Hayes sitting there just dominating on the left side of the floor, because you have to, it's a little bit harder. Everybody guards and defense is taught with this way, right? You're going to the right, but you go to the left, now you got to go play that a different way off of a different shoulder, and most players can't do that because now the defensive alignments change. So I think there's a great player there in Satou. Whether or not, folks, I'll tell you, whether or not she fits the fever. I personally think from a scouting perspective, I see a complementary players is what Caitlin needs. You need a bench, okay? You need a bench. You got a lot of great point guards. And the other thing I'll bring to the attention to Indiana fans, and, you know, some people who are really radical and Indiana fans and say a lot of things. You know, when I hear you talk about Naylssa Smith, right? And Naylssa Smith, that one kind of gets me a little bit, because you got other black players. I'm going to say black players, right? You got other black players on that squad. So when you talk, when you come in, and if you want to have credibility in the media world, one of the things you won't do is you got to be cautious, because there's no editor in social media, right? So you're not coming from print. Nobody's proofing your story. You're just sticking it out there. But when you talk to Naylssa Smith in a degrading way, you have to understand you're also talking to the other players, black players on the Indiana Fever, because there's no difference. See, when the women get together, and when you talk badly about one black woman, you might as well say badly about all the black women. So if you don't like Naylssa Smith, then you really don't like Kelsey Mitchell, and you really don't like Boston, right? Because you can't separate those, and there's no way they're going to let that African-American woman be on that team as African-American teammates and allow her to be ridiculed like that. So it's cautious. The only thing I'll tell you is Bush League, okay? Money might as well tell you it's Bush League. And when I say Bush League, I mean, if you need to bash a player or feel a certain way, but you don't know the player's history, and you don't know what's happened to that player, Naylssa Smith, I'm talking about. And that's why I'm talking about Naylssa Smith, because this is what bugs me, right? Naylssa Smith is a number 2 draft pick coming into the WNBA. Everywhere else she performed, except the Indiana Fever. I have to ask myself, with this player, and I said release her, you don't like her, give her to Chicago. You know, I mean, President Kelly can't do that, right? Because you got a vested interest in it, right? You don't take number 2 players and dog them out. It just doesn't work. Only thing you're doing is devaluing the trade value. Okay, when you talk that bad about a player and everybody goes and scouts it out, well, the Fever don't like her, essentially this, all this media of podcasters coming in, you're talking about a player, you're going to devalue. So guess what? Even if Kelly wants to get rid of the player, can't get rid of the player. Why? Because nobody's going to give no value for her, right? But she has a lot of value. She's just black, right? And, you know, folks, I'll tell you this, sometimes you can come in California, right? And I'll switch gears a little bit. I'll talk about Lexi Hole, right? because I don't understand this thing on the black players, right? Every time somebody does something on Indiana Fever, it's a black player. It comes off like a negative, right? So the question was Lexi Hall, right? And so Lexi had made the comments about Chelsea Gray, right? And so then, when I'm sitting here and I'm going, well, Lexi was telling the truth, okay? Lexi was telling the truth. And the bottom line, if you ask me, okay, Chelsea Gray was just hurt last year, right? But it goes deeper than that with me. Chelsea Gray's from Sacramento, California, right? Right in the hub, right? You talk about Lynn Roberts down there at UOP in Stockton. Well, where did Chelsea Gray go to school? Stockton, California, St. Mary's, right? State champion, blue blood, right? You're talking about Chelsea Gray, the blue blood, played on Sac Future, all the young girls, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. But she's a blue blood, went to Duke, mom's first class. I mean, you're talking about somebody that's miles above the game, okay? And you this quantification of California, right? Because I'm listening at people jump on Lexi Hall, and I listen at people jump on Dejanay Carrington, right? But Lexi Hall is from Stanford. DJ Carrington is from Stanford. You know the educational level. I mean, Vanderveer, Tara. Talked to Tara on the phone. I mean, one of the most intelligent coaches. Talked a lot about intangibles, right? Because she looks for certain things, and she's retired. But one of the things you got to do, folks, I'll tell you, to go to Stanford, you got to be admitted academically first, right? And if you're not admitted academically, then they can't get you in. There's no room for you. Now, here's the thing I loved about Tara Vanderveer that really was impressive, first class, about an NCAA coach retired. And Tara, I just want to say this, is the fact that with Tara, if she stopped recruiting you, there was no mystery to it. She would send you a nice handwritten letter that how great we appreciate, however, Stanford basketball would not be recruiting you going forward. Made it very clear. Didn't have any problems with that, right? And you can appreciate that. If I had a couple athletes that went there, went to her cap, recruited them, came into Oregon Trails, Memphis, saw their games a couple times, and made a decision. Okay, this is another player that I want to let them know, and that's first class. So when you get into that, but back to Chelsea, Chelsea Gray is just a superstar player. I mean, she's an all-star. She just got hurt. Best players, 2 players. Sacramento Monarchs, 2 players I'd sign right away, right? Sacramento franchise, WNBA. The other one's going to be Gabby Williams, right? Gabby Williams, I worked directly with her father, jam on it basketball, a lot of ups and downs. But Gabby, man, smart, excellent player. And both of them really can end up on the Vicaris. But Chelsea Gray comes back, and the Aces, and you might have to move Kelsey Plum because what is the same thing like I told you with Mitchell, right? You got to think about that. You got to look at the Kelseys, right? Look at the Kelseys. You got 2 Kelseys here. And one of them, Kelsey Plum, wants to be a franchise point guard. And you got the other, Kelsey Mitchell, wants to be a franchise point guard. So you got to look at that, and you want to say to yourself which way are they going to go because, at the end of the day, I just caution to the wind. I'm really waiting to see how this free agency shakes out. Because what I really got, nobody's got any players, right? Nobody's got any players, right? Everybody needs players. And then Chicago, okay, you move, I move, right? That's what everybody wants to play. You sign a player, what do I got to do to counteract that, right? Because the only way in the WNBA you beat somebody, and man, oh man, I looked at the 7 new coaches. Okay, you got that guy over there with the Connecticut Sun. He ain't even worried about the draft. He's got Belgium, France. He's got international players he wants to bring on, right? So you got a whole nother game coming in your way. Then you got Sidney Johnson up there with the Washington Mystics. Man, is he coming in hot and heavy. I mean, that's somebody's got his own ship, right? So he was with Chicago on the Winterspoon. But you look at it, assistant coach gets a head job. Sidney Johnson's been around the game, right? No doubt about it. And, you got to go deeper, okay, because Lynn Roberts going to really just do it. Sitting there with the 2nd pick. I really believe, but, that supplemental for Juju, but there's more going on to the Juju Watkins story, right? Because Juju Watkins got on national TV, and what Juju said is the WNBA is not ready, right? I mean, it was a negative connotation like they're not ready, you're not prepared to pay me, and it's not even about money, you're not even prepared to market me. And like I said, Juju Watkins, the only place that could do that is L.A., I mean, you got Magic Johnson's an owner down there. You got some guys that are there that could really help it. But, that's a turmoil. I really don't get the outcome because Unrival's pushing forward. Rivals got players getting equity in the league, Rivals signing players, and Rivals signing high school players. So, I mean, either there's a different stamp, I'm not sure where it goes, but it is what it is. And finally, I'll close up. You got Caitlin Clark. Visited Nike. Well, welcome aboard. It's a California adjoining state. You got Portland's 5 hours from me, right? Just heading up it's a beautiful drive up Interstate 5 if you guys ever came from Oregon, get over Grants Pass, come on down the hill, Shasta Mountains, Redding, California, down the Bay Area. Beautiful drive, but Caitlin made it up to Nike. And that one there is a global women's icon. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's going to go across the globe, right? And they're rolling it out. I mean, they gave her such a warm welcome as they do all the Nike athletes. They're going in there. And, I mean, it's rightfully so, but they've had a conversation. Caitlin's not worried about anything. Brent's not worried about anything. Everybody's just kind of hanging out. Only thing everybody's worried about, right, is, you got Kelly and Amy when you're going to produce the players, right? Because there are only so many players that are sitting around in the WNBA, and if you don't like black players, right, because if you talk bad about one black player, you might as well talk bad about all of them because you're going to put them in a group, and the players that you say that about, they got to go console that player. And they've been through it too, and I'm telling you, watch it. Don't do it. You're making Kelly's job hard. I like the Indiana Fever, okay, but I don't know if they have enough strength to get to the title game coming up because they haven't played together. And the players that they had the playoff experience with. Here's my concern. Well, if you don't like Naylssa and you lost Timmy Fagbigné, well, where are you going to get your posts from? Right? And Satou's really a 3, but can play the 4, but really she's a .3. So you're doing a lot of changes. This could get complicated for Stephanie White. She's good. Only thing I don't like about Stephanie White, and it's just my opinion. It's okay to have an opinion, but it's my opinion is this. Here's what I don't like about Stephanie White. You start tinkering things. When Caitlin had a perfect season last year that won her all the awards. Now you go get the tinkering, that could change. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. We enjoy what we do. It's off season. My 49ers tanked out. I'm not too happy about it. WNBA is doing well. I'll tell you what, unrivaled basketball. That's right, unrivaled basketball, women's basketball. It's growing the women's game right now. Okay, unrivaled basketball is still growing the women's game. And here's the thing that's funny about it. Caitlin's not playing, right? Unless they got some magical league they're putting her in, iron sharpens iron, right? And so eventually, I said, Caitlin's going to need Unrivaled, right? Eventually, she's going to have to play. And the way it works out in leagues and camps, I've seen it 1,000 times. You get some big-time players. They don't play in the start of the camp. Maybe they come in the All-Star game, right? Well, they don't come in the All-Star game. Maybe they come in the playoffs, right? They play. But it is what it is. It's basketball, right? But you got to let it be. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. Now, what I wanted to do is give you some face-to-face time. Okay, and I want you to get confused. Okay, is anyone else talking? It's Money Mike, and your opinions are valuable. I read them all. I listen to them all. I see sometimes you guys get an interpersonal communication of love. I stay out of that piece. But what we're going to do in 2025, we're going to take it to another level. We're now going to be aligned with Too Hot Radio. We're going to move all the way through up to Rock Nation. Okay, we're going to be up there in the NBA and the WNBA. And we're going to move this thing across the board with the access. Got tremendous access with Phenom America. And that's a #1 grassroots program that's put WNBA and NBA players in the dance with Joe Keller. So 2025, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're doing a lot of marketing. And life is good. I appreciate who you are for tuning in. And again, will I always get it right? Well, I'll miss on occasions. But at least you got somebody you can talk to. And I'll talk back to you, right? Because I respect your opinion. Okay? But I'm also willing to say, I don't agree with your opinion. Okay? And if I this is what I say. It's my opinion. But if it turns to truth, Money Mike just giving you the facts a long time ago. I told you a long time ago these ticket prices are going to be higher. I tell you a long time ago, these coaches coaching in the WA gonna get fired, right? I can tell you things that you don't even know, and I'm telling you now, Satou, be cautious on that one, because that's a franchise player, and can't be but one queen. And if she come, then Caitlin ain't the queen. She don't run second fiddle. So that's something to think about. But this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We thank you for tuning in. Little face-to-face action, and we promise we'll get better and better, and we'll go higher and higher. We'll see you soon.